Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to look at a simple 4-hole Japanese stab bind. And I'm going to show you two different ways of doing the cover. One with just some heavier weight card, and then one with a book board, and I'll show you the slight differences in those. I'm also going to use I've got them clipped here so that I keep them all together in the right page. I'm not using just plain paper. I've got a bit of plain, but I've got newspaper, I've got handmade paper, I've got book pages, music pages. So I've got 20 sheets. I'm going to use 20 sheets in each. So I've got my pages set up. Now I would suggest that when you've decided on your cover size, that you then cut your pages accordingly. Now you can see I've kept them all the same height, but the sort of width I'm not too worried about, as long as they're all the same height to catch in the bind. And you need some thread, wax thread, to sew your books together. And other things you will need is something to protect your surface when you're punching holes. This is just a series of sort of flaps from boxes and an awl. I've got my ruler. I've got a sharp knife, and a sharp knife is really important, particularly when you're trimming pages. Otherwise you get that raggedy edge. You'll need needles. I'll need a pencil. There may be a few other things as we go. But that's the basis. So I'm going to start with the simpler one, which is this heavier weight card. Now, this is cut from a lino print, I think it is, lino cut print. I'm not bothered that the writing's there. I'm going to keep it up this sort of the binding end. That's the most important thing. So my cover, I'd say, is roughly A5, and I've cut two pieces. So there's two pieces of the same kind of card, and I've cut, like I said, all my pages to size this way, and made sure that the longer pages fit in this way. Now, what we need to do is we need to make 4 holes for our spine. So I've got a spine template here, which is the same height as my book, and I'm going for a 2 centimeter width for my spine. Now, one thing you'll need to do when you are using a card cover, you'll need to so just make sure I've got the right side. You will need to score, because if I show you one, it's not quite the same. This is a 2-hole Japanese stab bind, and what happens is they open like this. So you need, with a piece of card, you need to make you need to score it. So I'm making sure I've got that writing at that end, and I'm going to score here at 2 centimeters, and I'm just going to make sure that it folds. So that will be how the book will open. Now I like Japanese stab binding for these landscape type cards. You can see this one is very much sort of checkbook like, if you like, thin and long and thin, if you like, wide and thin, if that's the right way. But I've gone for a sort of an A5 landscape, because I think you can, I would use, I would use this type of journal for art journaling, because I like the different textures when you're art journaling. It's sometimes nice to try out your materials on different types of paper, different surfaces. How do they react? How do they move? Anyway, that's getting away from what we're doing. So what we've scored this. What I need to do now is I need to sort out where my holes are going on here. Now, it should be roughly 15 centimeters, and it is, and that's fine. So what I would do, I like to find the middle, and this kind of ruler that has this bit down here that allows you to find the middle. You can see here, this bottom bit has the numbers going either way, and you can move the ruler until you've got an equal amount either side. So it's pretty much 7.5. It's not going to be the end of the world. Now, because I know this is 15, I'll just show you how I would do it from here. So I would go 2 centimeters that way, 2 centimeters that way, and then 4 centimeters that way, and 4 centimeters that way. Where am I? 6 for my 4 holes. Now, this means that these are 4 centimeters apart, and I've got at least a centimeter here. What I would do is I would make sure you have at least a centimeter from each end, and then work out how to divide the rest into 3 equal parts. I went for this. This is 15 centimeters, and it works perfectly in order to be able to do this. So that's where my holes are going to need to be going across. Now what I'm doing is I'm just drawing the lines so that they're all the way across, like so, because I do need to do one other thing, and that's to find halfway this way. And because I went for 2 centimeters, that should be quite easy. It should be a centimeter either side, and my ruler again with the nice little central bit allows me to do that. So I know that I need to, in my papers, to do my holes here, 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 and here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my paper stack, and I'm going to move that clip to there. So all of these papers are nice and stable. I'm going to put this up to the edge. Now, if you are going to use a low tack tape to hold things in place, do make sure it is low tack, that it's not going to take off your the surface of your paper. So I have my papers here. Now this I haven't tried this yet to see it. I'm hoping it will go all the way through. I'm just going to press down, and I think I've already gone through. I have. So I've already gone through all my papers there. I'm going to do the same here. Down through. I'm going to do the same on this one. It might have moved. So just might have slightly moved here. All right, we'll see how we go. It will work or it won't. I'm just going to move it just slightly. Just seemed to have slipped up a little bit. That was all. That one's still in the right place. That one is. And okay, so I've got the holes in my papers. Okay, now I'm going to take my 2 covers, make sure I've got the right in there. And I'm going to use, I like using these little border clips. You can use paper clips, whatever is easiest for you. And just holds things together when you're trying to punch kind of in one go. So I'm just moving these on there. And so this time I need to get on this way, so I'm going to bring it here first of all, just so I make sure I've got this on the right place. So this is on my the folded bit where we scored here. Now I'm not going this time. I'm not going to pierce through. Or am I? Should I do that? I'm just trying to decide. No, I am going to use. I'm going to use my crocodile. If you've got another sort of hole punch, that's fine, or a screw punch. The reason I would say that is because you might want to put eyelets through. I'm not going to put eyelets through, but you might want to put eyelets through. on the cover to add a little a sort of what's the word, a little decoration, because with Japanese stab binding the actual stitches become part of the decoration on the front. Bear with me, I'm just trying to get these in just about the right area, which is not easy when it's not quite under my nose. Like so. And I would suggest if you are going to punch holes, it would be better to put eyelets in. I just don't have any that fit. So yeah. Okay, so I've now got my holes punched here, and I have my holes punched here. So we're now going to put, oh yes, they line up really well. So I'm just going to do just trying to keep everything in line so it doesn't all slip. Okay, so I've got that one on at the front, and then I'm just going to make sure we've got it in the right place on the back as well, like so. There we go. So I've got all my holes all lined up. So we're going to use this one. I thought it just looked nice because it tones in. You might want to have something that's a real contrast. Now I would say you need a generous 3 times the book height. And when I say generous, I always tend to go a bit like that either side. So that would be 1, 2, 3. Okay, a little bit of luck. And then we need to thread the needle. Oh, oh, is that going to come through? Yes, it's come through. Just about, has it? Let's pull it back. There we go. That's straight. Now, I'm not going to be able to find it now. Oh yes, here we go. I got myself a piece of grey board and I punched the holes just so that I could practice the stitches. So if you want to do that, then before you start doing your book, then by all means do that. But this is the effect we're gonna end up with. This is a very simple stab bind. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around. I'll leave that there so that you can also get the idea. I've got my holes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to start by going out through hole 3. Okay, now you need to leave yourself a little bit of a tail. You can just leave it if you want. Again, if you've got some really good low tack tape, then just tape that down. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start with our first loop over. So we're going to come over and go back out that same one again there, like so. Okay, just take that away, getting in the way. So we've got our first stitch there. Now it probably wasn't the best choice of colour, but you'll be able to see better on the next one because it's exactly the same. So I'm out the back here. So we're going to come along to number 2 and we're going to come back through this way, and then we're going to go over and through number 2 again. Like so. Okay. And then we're going to go along to number 1. Going to go out through number 1, over and back through. Now we also need to do the side bit. So we're going to bring the thread round the side, like so, and back through number 1 again. As I said, I'm sorry, I've chosen an unfortunate colour of thread, although it tones. It's not so easy to see. So that's where we're at. Okay. Now, this is what we look like on the back. So we're going to go back in through number 2. Pull that through. Then we're going to go out number 3. Bear with me while I just pull it through. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to come up through number 4. We're going to go over to create this stitch and back through number 4 again. Okay. We're going to go out round the side. I'll get hold of my nail. That round the side and in here. Okay, so the only thing we've got left to do, because all of here we've got all of our binding done, is we need to fill this in. So what we do is we come under here and under here, and then we pull that through. Right, you see I've just about got enough. That's why whoops, got it caught there. Okay, pull that through. Then we're going to go up under this one, and then we're going to tie our knot. Now, if I'd have thought about it, I'd have said to start from the back, but let's make a feature of it, and that's okay. Make a little bow like we did. I like that one I flashed through earlier had a little bow. So let's, as I've made the mistake of starting from the front, let's actually make a little bit of a, oh, I am going to do this, sort out the mistake I made. I will hopefully have, when I edited the video, added a little note to say to make sure you start from the back. Actually, that looks all right, that little bow. And so I'm just going to cut that off there. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's move all my rubbish out of the way, all my bits of tape and stuff. That's as simple as it is. And I now have my stab bound journal. Okay. Right, so that's the easy way to do it, using a piece of card and scoring it. Okay, now let's look at the slightly more complicated way, and I'll try and remember to go from the back when I sew this one. Let's just put my needle back in here, like so. Right. Okay, so I'm going to bring my boards in, and this time, instead of 2 pieces of card, I've got 2 pieces of grey board. Okay, now this one, we're just going to cover this like we would normally. Now, if you have Janie's tools, then ooh, I seem to have misplaced my, oh no, it's there. There we go. Right. If you have bought Janie's from Janie's Originals, sorry, I'm just saying from Janie's Originals, if you bought the spacers, then you'll have this L spacers, which I use for making sure I've got a reasonable border around my papers. You don't need it, you can just eyeball it, but I like to do that. That's, you know, if you have them. Also, when we come to cutting corners, if you have Janie's corner cutter guide, you can use that. If not, you can just cut the corners, it will still work. It just gives you a slightly more, you know, more accurate, professional, I suppose, if you like, finish. So let's get our glue. So I'm using Janie's Originals paper bindery glue. And I'm going to glue on. So, grab my spatula and just spread my glue like so. So, like this. Trying to make just sure it goes up to the edges. Okay, and then I'm going to put my little corner. Again, this doesn't have to be accurate, it's just the way I like to do it. But basically, you're going to put your board down and oh, something I have lost is my little scraper. I have like a, or I had a scraper. Oh, it's right by me. I've moved it out. So all I'm doing, I'm using this scraper to make sure work from the middle out to make sure you've got your things stuck properly. Now again, you don't need to do this. I'm going to use make sure you've got a sharp knife. I'm going to use the corner cutter. All you need to do, if you don't have the corner cutter, you just need to make sure when you cut the corners off, you can use the 45-degree lines on your cutting mat if you have one. But the important thing is to leave a little gap here between the corner and the outside of the paper. If you cut right up to the corner, then you're going to end up with exposed corners. Okay, if you just leave that a little bit extra, that's what will give you that more professional sort of mitered finish. Okay, so we're going to go just doing that just to start the fold. Going to bring that over, and again, whoops, I'm going to use my scrape. I don't know what it's called. I don't know exactly what the name of it is, but it really, as you can see, this paper was resisting a little bit to come over, but this really helps. I would suggest that you have maybe a damp piece of cloth or something, just so that you can wipe the glue off as you go. But it will peel off later, but obviously you don't want to be spreading glue where you don't need to. So we're going to just go over, and then again, this is quite a thick wallpaper I'm using. I'm having to persuade it that it wants to stay over long enough to catch the glue. That's all it is. It's not that the glue's not sticking, it's just that this is really heavyweight wallpaper that I'm using. Absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to give these a bend before I even start to give them a little bit more of a helping hand. No, nearly forgot. So now I am at the point where what I want to do is I'm going to just push these little corner bits round. If I bring that up, you can see. Push that round there. Okay. Do the same with all of them. Okay. And that's what helps to give us that nice, neat finish. Oops, got rather a lot of glue in the corner there. Rather a lot. That's going to squidge everywhere. So, yes, and I don't have a cloth bear with me. Just going to put a little bit of a silicone glue mat underneath. So when I squidge, it's not going all over my table. So here we go again. Persuading this that it wants to stay over. If you've got lighter weight paper, it's not gonna. There you go. You can see you squidge the glue out. There we go. Okay, and same with here. And then press that down. Okay. So this is just the normal way that we would cover any boards for any bookmaking. And I also have this piece. I'm just going to see if there's an upside. This is going to be the back. I'll go with that. Just having a look at the other piece I cut. This has all been cut out of one. Oh yes, that's definitely going to go on the inside front. So this, as you can see, it's wallpaper. Exceptional wallpaper, according to this. So we're just going to get this stuck on, and that's our backboard done. Our front board is slightly different, which is why I'm getting this one done first, and then I'm going to show you how we do the front. Okay, right, so let's just again middle out. Whoops, you can see that's moved slightly, so let's move that back. I've got gluey fingers, that's why I'm now using my arm, because what I didn't want to do is rub my gluey finger all over it. There we go, that looks better. Put that before it was too late. Okay, right, so that's going to be the back of our book. So we'll put that to one side for the moment. And we're going to look at the front. Now, we need, in the same way as where we did the score on the first one, we need to create that that same hinge, if you like, on this board. So what we have to do is we have to cut a channel out. So what I'm still working on having a 2 centimeter spine. So I just want to check where I've been. I just want to check that line, that's the line I want to cut on. Pretty much. Have I got that straight? I'm just going to remark that. So I'm working on, there we go, that's the line. Yes, you just come. I was looking at it and thinking it didn't look quite straight to me. I'm actually going to turn it round. I would always suggest when you cut something that you try and, yeah, in a way I would prefer to do it the other way, because I prefer to have the bit that I'm cutting away, the bit that the knife might slip into, but because this is so small, it's not going to work that way, so we're just going to have to be careful. Right, so I've got a sharp knife, and all I'm doing is I'm keeping the knife against the ruler, and rather than putting pressure on the knife, I'm keeping my pressure on the ruler and just running the knife down multiple times. I should have enough of that. Okay. Right, so there's there, and that should hopefully fit my spine. Now, I then want about a 4mm gap. You can see my original line wasn't straight enough. Now, the reason I'm saying 4mm is because I would use this is, again, if you have a spacer, the spacers from Janie, this is the way, the easiest way to do it. You would put this against the edge here and then draw your line down. Now, if you don't have the spacers, then obviously you can't do that. So what I did was I tried it out. So I would draw my line down. And if I go down a bit further to the bottom, continue my line down. And when I measured that, that was about 4mm. Okay. All right. So if you don't have the metal edge, if you don't have the spacers, then go for about 4mm. And we're just going to cut that out. And we're going to cut that, because this is the bit we're not going to want. We'll see. If this ends up being too big, I'll put it on the thing below to make sure that I alter it. So this bit we don't need. So just like before, I have my piece of paper, but this time we're going to stick this. So we've got this bit and we've got this bit. We're going to stick this big bit on first. So don't stick it on centrally, and that's for me, having my little border thing will help, because I know that I will stick it, you know, this end. Okay, so I'll leave that there. I'm going to put my glue on. Whoa, oh dear. You might not be able to see it, but I have just dropped glue everywhere. I am a menace with glue. A menace, a menace, a menace. So, where is my thing? Okay. So I'm just spreading my glue out, and I'm going to what a mess. What a mess. And I'm going to stick this. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, but roughly. So you want your larger, if it helps, put this one on as well so you can roughly see where you're going. Have I done that the wrong way? I have. I'm very quickly going to lift that up, because I've just realized when we turn it over, that is that end we want the thing. So that was lucky. Let's try that again. It needs to be stuck at the right hand end. Hopefully there's still enough glue on that. Let's see. Let's see. Is there still enough glue? It's sticking down. Hopefully there is. Yeah, I think we just about got away with that. No, the reason I forgot, you turn it over, this is the end of the hinge needs to be, and I had forgotten that. Okay, so my next thing, not quite straight, but we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it. It's not the end of the world if I haven't got it on straight. So my other small bit. So I'm going to get the glue on it. Like so. Where's my spatula? Like so. And I'm going to put my spacer down. If you don't, then you can perhaps measure or just eyeball it. As long as you've got a space, you've got a gap, you want to try, you use your ruler. Whoops, you didn't have other things stuck on it. Use your ruler. Is that not there? To make sure that they're level there, and then push it in against there. So that's our second piece put on. Okay, right, so what we need to do now is we're going to cut the corners like we normally do. So I'm going to grab my knife and I'm going to cut my corners. Oh, have I done that? Okay, like so. And we're going to start by doing the edges in, okay? And I'll explain why I'm going to do those small ends first. I think I'm beginning to realize possibly this has got some sort of adhesive on it. That might be why this adhesive is having not difficulty, but it's not sticking straight away because there's something else on it. Let's get this piece over. Okay. Okay. And then we'll do the same here. Now, I have a feeling this might be, oh no, it's just about, works out just about perfect. What you don't really want is for this end piece to go over this gap here. So if it looks like it's going to go over that gap, then I would trim it off just sort of along, like along there, so that it doesn't go all the way over. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to fold these over, because what I did forget to do before you fold them over is just to push, remember just to push your little corners round like so. Okay. Now the thing is, what we don't want is we want this in. So what we're going to do, use scissors, don't use a knife. We're going to use a small pair of scissors, and I'm just going to make a slit there, not all the way up at the moment. We'll see if we need to go all the way up, but we're going to make a little slit like so, just so that they will go into this gap here. Okay, so let's get the glue on. First, squishing out the end again. Too much on. I don't think I folded that corner in particularly well. Oh, we will survive. Okay, and then here. And I'm just going to get my bone folder and just push my bone folder in. I just need that bit to stick first. Bone folder in there. Hopefully this bit will also stick. Okay. And then we'll do the same this side. My cuts don't seem to have been particularly straight, but we'll survive. We will survive. Pull that over. If you don't have one of these kind of scraper things, then I would suggest you use a bone folder or maybe a ruler, so that you're making sure that you've got a good stick, good bond, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm putting my bone folder in again. This is not wanting to stick, like that one didn't want to stick. It will stick, just for some reason, just deciding to take its time. So I've got that done there. So this is going to fold back like that. Okay, now we need to do this piece. Okay, now this piece we're going to stick here, then we're going to burnish that bit down in and then stick that bit here. So you can see it looks quite close to the edge here, but once we've burnished it down in, it's going to come further in away from the edge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn it, this is the way I want it to start. I'm just turning it that way, and I'm just giving myself an idea of how far up I want to put the glue, which is to about here. So that when I'm putting the glue on this, I can see, I don't want to go any further than that for now. Okay. Hopefully we can get this to stick Okay, so this is going down. Use the scraper. Make sure I'm not getting it all off center again. I am. Right. Right. Okay, and then we're going to get our bone folder again, and we're going to use the bone folder to push the paper down in. Okay, and to make sure that it goes in. And in fact, sometimes I find it easier with the ruler. You see the ruler itself is really pushing it down in so that I know it's right down. And then I'm going to do it the same this side, push that against that edge there. Okay. So what I need to do now is I need to put glue down here for this bit to stick, and I will push my ruler down into that groove again to make sure that the paper is still in the groove. Excess glue there. So, oh, that's not good. Rubbing that on my jumper wasn't the best idea. Well, I suggest you have a wet cloth. Okay. So now we have our front cover ready. I'm going to clear up the mess and then I'll come back and we'll do the next bit. So I've got glue everywhere. Right, so I've cleared up a bit and I'm ready to do the actual binding, which will now work in the same way as the other one did. So I've got my papers, I've cut them so that they fit this way and that they all fit in this way. But remember, I wasn't so bothered if they were all the right length. And I am actually going to move this clip here and I'm just going to put one on the end here, just trying to make sure that the papers don't move when I'm piercing them. And then I'm not going to do this because we're bored. It's going to take a little bit more sort of oomph to get through those. So here is my spine template, and I'm going to do that in exactly the same way. I'll do it again just in case you didn't pick it up the first time. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get this my ruler roughly centralized. This one's not quite 15, but you can still see, you can get it, you can see, you can eyeball it if you like. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 2 centimeters either side of my middle. Remember, my spine is pretty much 15 centimeters. And then I'm going to go another 4 centimeters that way and 4 centimeters that way. So each of these gaps are 4 centimeters. Each of these gaps are 4 centimeters. And I've got at least a centimeter from either end. You need to have at least a centimeter, otherwise you're going to struggle a little bit with them, particularly if you're punching the holes. So I'm just going to draw the lines across. So you can, you can pretty much do them, books like this, whatever size you want, whatever size card you've got, whatever size board you've got. Yeah, as long as you can figure out, the center. So remember, I'm doing the center this way as well. So I can work out where to put my holes. Then, you're pretty much, you can do whatever size, and it's a really lovely, simple kind of stitch. So I'm putting my spine guide on here, and I'm going to this time, I'm going to I'm going to tape it round the end like so. I don't know if that's going to work any better, but we can try it, can't we? Yeah, tape it around the end. We'll see how it goes. That one wasn't quite so successful, but we'll see. And I may even put just a little bit there just to keep it from wobbling. Okay, so back on my little punching station, and try and make sure you go vertically down, okay, through that hole. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Check you've gone through. There we go. We've gone through. So that's all fine. Those are ready. Now, this time, I'm not, even with the crocodile, going to get 4 holes in a row. Sorry, 4 holes in a row. I'm not going to get the punch to go through 2 thicknesses of the card. So we're going to do one at a time. To punch the holes. So I'm going to punch these. As you can hear, that it's enough for it to go through 1 thickness of board. This is a 2mm board. Again, if you've got eyelets, you would need quite deep eyelets for this, doing it on the board. There we go. Right, now gone through that has. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do now, because I want to make sure that's my board. Which way up is this board? This way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line my boards up. I'm just going to put a couple of clips, and then I'm going to put my pencil through and make marks, because it may be that I don't get this completely put on the right way, you know. So this way I should now have 4 marks where I need to punch on this. So that's what I'm going to do. I can see where the hole is. Punch. It's 1, 2, 3, and there's the 4th one. Oh, where does it not want to go? And 1. There we go. Okay. Just poke that out. It hasn't wanted to go quite through. Open it all. Oh, there's 1. Oh, use pokey tool. Just poke that through there. Right, so rid of that. The holes are nicely lined up through there. Let's move all my mess again. And bring in let's check. You can see, well, you should be able to see through. I'm just going to do one board at a time. So I'm looking to make sure that those are lined up, and then I'm just moving my clips to hold the board as well. And then this is the front, and we're with our nice little hinge there. So we just need to make sure that our front cover is now lined up. And I'm hoping these clips are big enough, just to hold this in place while you are sewing. Okay, so just check, can you see all the way through? And I can. Right, so it's the same as before, and I've got a more contrasting thread this time, so hopefully you'll be able to see it a little bit better. And remember, we said a generous kind of 3 times your book height. And remember, the mistake I made on the first one was to go from the front, so we're going to turn it over on the back. And I'll bring my little thing in again. Hold 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you like the idea of having the little bowl on the front, and quite honestly, it does look quite cute. You can do it the other way around. Otherwise, we'll show what it's like from the back. Okay, let's get my needle threaded like so. And we'll want a little bit of tape just to hold the tail. Okay, so we're starting with hole 3, and we're going from the back to the front, like so, and we're going to leave a tail. And if you have really good low-tack tape, then use it. If you're not sure, because what you don't want to take is to take the surface over that. So we bring it over, and we're going back through this hole. Okay, like so. Okay, then we're going along to number 2 and coming back up. Oh, have I got it? Where have I got it caught? Oh, I've got it caught on the clips. Oh, through number 2, over, and we're going to come through the front. Okay, then we're going to go along to number 1. Just wondering why that wasn't going across, and now I can see. Now I've checked on the back, you can see I've got it caught around my clips. That is one of the things you do have to watch with clips, but there we go, that's looking better. So we've come out through number 1, we're going over and back through. Okay, and then we've got to come around the side and back through. Okay. Oof. Oh, this is me getting myself right caught up on my clips today. Okay, like so. There we go. So you can see that's what it looks like on the back. I turn it to the front, that's where we're at on the front. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come back into number 2, and that fills in that gap. And we're going to go out number 3. I got it caught again. Yes. Caught on the clip. Caught on the clip. So we've got it like so and like so. Okay. And then we're going to then go into number 4. Come to number 4. And we're going to go over and then back through number 4. to create that one, and then we're also going to do the side one. So we're going to go round the side and back through. Oh, now you see I didn't keep that to the side. So what I'm going to do, because nothing is majorly gone wrong, I just need to pull it. What can I get under there? My fingers aren't great. There we go. Pull it back. Just pull it back around the side there. Just use your finger to make sure it's going to go on the side. Give it a little bit of a tug. Okay, now this is possibly the most complicated, but it's not even that's not complicated. So you're going to put your stitch under here and under there. So under both. If you don't get caught around your clip. And I'm going to take my clip off now because I think everything's in place. Okay, so we've come under those. We're going to come back round and we're going to go under this one and back across. Okay, and now we're going to tie these off. Now, because I made the mistake and everything ended up on the front, I tied a bow, which you could still do around here, or you can just make sure that your knot is tied tightly and then cut it off. And it kind of disappears into, if you've got a punched hole like me, it kind of disappears into that hole. So I'm going to, but what I might do is I might just tuck, I still got that, tuck this one under here, like so, and then cut that off, like there. And then, I don't know if I can just use the needle to push that under that one. There we go, like so, and then cut that off. Okay, but that's now on the back this time, because I remember to put it on the back. Put my needle away. Okay, so we now have our stab binding book. Oh, look, I put me oh dear, what a shame. I put my Kingfisher up the wrong way. What I will probably do is unpick that binding, because it doesn't take very long, and turn my little Kingfisher round the right way. Everything else looks like it's up the right way in my little junk journal. So yeah, so I think before I take the photos, I shall probably undo the binding, put my little Kingfisher. I think he's going to end up this one being on the front and not this one, but that's okay. I can live with that. Okay, so thank you for joining me for this one, and yeah, hopefully that's another stitch added to your repertoire.